Welcome to the HCI family of podcasts. We're your source for personal, professional, and organizational growth and development. We share our own original research, explore industry trends, and interview executives and thought leaders from across the globe. Join us for practitioner-oriented content around all things leadership, HR, talent management, organizational development, and change management. Maximize your personal and organizational potential with the HCI family of podcasts. Irene Riad, welcome to the conversation today.
Thank you, John. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
It is a real pleasure to be with you. You're joining us from Albania. I'm south of Salt Lake City in Utah in the U.S. And today we're going to be talking about conscious leadership. I think this is such a wonderful topic. It's one that I've explored with guests in the past, but it's been a while. I think it's one that's really worth exploring again, especially within the context of the current, geopolitical climate, the current disruption, kind of the incursion of AI and technological disruption in the workplace. I think it's a really, really important topic to explore. So I'm excited to have the opportunity to talk with Irene and have her share her depth of experience and insights with us today. As we get started, I wanted to share Irene's bio with everybody. Irene Riad is an ICF PCC executive coach and an organizational culture coach who is specialized in success mindset, complex trauma recovery, and Jungian depth psychology. She's the founder of SightCET, the Institute of Authentic Leadership Culture, a keynote speaker, and best-selling author. Now, Irene, I could go on. There's so many super cool things about all of what you do in your work and your background, but I'm going to pause there. Is there anything, Irene, that you would like to highlight by way of your background or personal context before we dive on into the broader conversation?
Well, thanks for this beautiful introduction. It sounds always so grandiose when I hear it. I think in simple terms, I see myself as someone who's helping people tap into their greatest self.
I love that.
That's really what encompasses all that, study that I've done. That's really what I'm after. And maybe a thing to know about me, culturally, I have been blessed by living and growing in different countries throughout the world. I'm an Egyptian origin who was born and raised in Saudi Arabia, lived there 15 years, went on and lived in the UK 10 years, currently in Albania for 4, lived in the UAE for 10. I'm kind of giving away my age, but I just wanted to say that culture and how it impacts how we perceive the world, how we perceive the potential that we have has influenced a lot of what I do.
Yeah.
And it had also confused me at some point, like, who am I? Which kind of an existential question that I usually bring into spaces where it allows leaders to, flourish more than a limited view of who they are. So I think that just piece about my background helps people see that, culture is such an important part of everyday life. Even if we don't talk about it as culture or label it, it paints the picture of what we see.
Yeah, awesome. I love the diverse background. And I think it's an apt description, like as you travel and you wrestle with identity and, like, who am I and how do I relate to all these different components of self? I think we all struggle and battle with that to a certain extent. Now, I, perhaps less than you, because I don't have as vastly diverse of a background as you, but we all, have different components of our background and different components of identity and self that we all carry with us. And so that's, part of, I think what it means to be human and what it means to just learn and grow and develop and mature in life. And so I love that, like, as you described, just part of the work that you do is just helping people connect, helping people connect to them, to themselves, and to have that clarity. I love it. I think that's just so important. And I think that really connects well to the broader topic for today, in terms of conscious leadership, because it's really hard to be a conscious leader. It's hard to have that level of clarity, to model that and to be that, to be present that way and to be that way with your team, with your organization if you first don't have that sense or presence with yourself first, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think conscious leadership may have started like a trend, or it was a nice kind of
Mm,
thing to add on our leadership, programs and stuff like that. But those who start to dabble in it, and actually leaders who take it seriously, find that it ends up being your lifelong, quest of learning more about yourself. And becoming conscious of it is just step A, like step one, like becoming aware of things about yourself that were either what we call blind spots or hidden, could be one way of taking it. And then what to do with that when you become aware is that how do you bring the ethics into it, the morality? How do you become a better person? And then how do you bring that into business? How do you get more revenue from that angle? And then consciousness can really expand from, a nice label to have, or like a nice training of how to be aware, to actually how do we work together to, expand our legacy or gain more wealth, or walk in our mission while we're staying true. It becomes while I'm staying true to myself, while I'm doing something meaningful for my team or myself. So consciousness starts to become, it's like a bubble that keeps growing, or a term that becomes more and more, the meaning of it changes as you become more knowledgeable of yourself. So it grows with you. It's not a static
mhm.
word.
Yeah, well, and so you just, I think, in many ways described many of the qualities of conscious leadership, many of the components of it. And I think, many of us probably aspire and we try to have those elements, like to be present of mind, to have that level of clarity. How do you feel like that translates into the current present workplace? Like we have distributed leadership, we have hybrid models. So, you have remote teams, people all over the place. You have disrupted technologies. You have multi-generational workforce. Like you have all these, like it's far more complicated today, than even a decade ago, right? In terms of like the types of teams that leaders are trying to lead. Not all of those things existed, prior to the pandemic and 5, 10 years ago, but it's just amplified. So there's like way more of it now than like what the average person probably had to deal with 5, 10 years ago. And so it's just way more common. And the average manager and leader has to just deal with like that's just ever present far more now than the average person probably had to deal with before. Yeah, like what do you feel like are those essential qualities for this current state and for the next generation of conscious leaders?
Yeah, it's I think for us to bring this into qualities that we inhabit and kind of build within a corporate or a business, it starts to look more simpler when we name it like self-awareness quality, having that deeper knowing of who you are. Self-awareness, someone who's very self-aware. So self-awareness doesn't end. So someone who continuously is open for feedback, who continues to learn, that kind of self-awareness, not just I know my personality type and I know my, blind spots, but the quality which shows up in my engaging with another as I take feedback and I learn something, how do I respond to that? So that kind of self-awareness where it's actionable, people receive feedback, act on it. Another thing is around emotional intelligence. How do I manage my emotions? So a quality of someone who is conscious leader, they must have high emotional intelligence, like high self-awareness. They
Hmm.
go hand in hand. And we all know about emotional intelligence. We almost have taken something around it. But practically, what does that mean in the workplace with my team who's distributed? It's probably that I can manage myself. I can use the emotion that to allow me to get better work cohesion, to get better relationships. So I think we're at a stage now where it's not just the surface level of that trait. So self-awareness, we all know it, but how do I actually use it to grow my capacity to hold more responsibility? So that's a little bit because we're dealing with complex situations. So when I say self-awareness, it's like, what do you know about yourself now that you need to learn about to be able to hold that bigger project that you're looking to, lead? That kind of self-awareness. And emotional intelligence. What is it about my managing my emotions that I get so triggered that I can't have a difficult conversation with the senior leader so that I can actually move things in a better way? So it's taking those same traits, not inventing anything new. And I would add on to it maybe the quality of resilience. We talk a
Yeah.
lot about resilience. We talk a lot about, how do I bounce back? And now it's no longer enough just to, bounce back. Or, have take a week off that you're able to come back refreshed. It's
Hmm.
resilience in the sense of how do I take rejection
Yeah.
and maybe a setback and use it so that I learn about myself, so I can positively take a next step, so I can manage my emotions. So I think we're at a level now where these traits or qualities of conscious leadership, we need the deeper level of all of these qualities. They don't haven't changed, so there's nothing new. It's just like how could we apply them now with more depth?
I like that with more depth. I think that's right. I think the depth of how we manifest these traits and these characteristics are vital. They're just so important within the current context, and the intentionality of how we manifest them, I think, are really vital. You just alluded to the resilience piece. I think that's so important, especially now, perhaps for younger generations. I think sometimes young millennials, Gen Z get a bad rap when it comes to things like resilience. So I don't want to feed into that stereotype. But I do think when we just think about setbacks generally, career setbacks, personal setbacks, this could apply to anyone, but I'm thinking specifically right now about early career individuals. How can setbacks and resilience, developing the resilience muscle, how can that shape our conscious leadership approaches? How should that kind of feed into how we approach leading others, to help them develop that resilience muscle? And how have your own personal setbacks shaped your own approach to leadership?
I love this question. And the reason is I actually started my own inner kind of perspection and introspection because of personal setbacks. So I personally believe that our setbacks are there to help us become the better version of us. Yes, we don't wish them to happen, but when they happen, and
Yeah.
it's very hard in those moments to see the good side, but it's a muscle to help. We need to kind of be aware of and to intentionally, as you said, bring it back to our awareness when we get a setback, when we get rejected from a job, or when we get laid off from a job, or we have a business deal that doesn't get through, or we just lost our best partner, or setbacks, personal and professional. And I've had my own with my personal one where I've, really bad divorce, lost contact from my son, had to restart again. And then the normal setback, normal like setbacks, but, having to relocate countries more than once, not wanting to, and then wanting to. So each one allows me personally, when I saw my setbacks, yes, in the moment, they are the tough situations that I remind myself that I get to get through them. And it's by getting through them with knowing that they're shaping me. Now I look back, and if I knew that, like, I would wish I could mentor and support young leaders to say, when you get that setback stepping out of uni or in your first job, really cherish it, because it's telling you something about yourself. What is it? It's that you can get through it. And what you're going to learn by getting through it is your gift. And so I would love to bring this understanding that setbacks and resistance to it is the process that helps shape resilience. We will never get resilient, never ever. I think these are maybe the one time I'll say never. You can never get resilient if you're not intentionally, consciously working through your setback. And there was a quote, I can't remember the author, but it goes, I might butcher it, but it would go something like, the obstacles are the way. They're not in your way.
Mm,
They're actually the way to become who you need to become on your journey to whatever goal you put. Because every goal you put, you're going to have setbacks and obstacles and whatever, all of it. It's never a smooth road. So when you get hit by your first setback or obstacle, if you could just remember it's the way, then it's like, okay, then I'm supposed to look at how I'm going to get around it. This is what I'm going to learn about myself, how I'm going to get around it. I'm going to learn about the outcome. But then you're so curious about, okay, I wish it didn't happen. But now that it happened, what do I need to learn about myself? And then what do I need to do? Like, yes, get awareness, but then act. So, and that is the resistance part of trying to get to the action that builds resilience. You become another person when you're across that rock or
yeah.
river.
Yeah. Like you said, you don't have to go out of your way to look for hard things. Life will throw hard things at you. That's just part of life. But you don't need to be so fearful of life that you try to go through life in a bubble, like you try to avoid the hard things. Like go chase your dreams, go out on a limb, try things, knowing that yes, hard things will come at you, and don't cower, So like just go try things, and when the hard things come at you, that's an opportunity. That's an opportunity to see how you respond. And it doesn't mean, that you're always you don't know how you're going to respond, right? And sometimes, it's doing a certain thing isn't right for you. You might change careers, you might decide a relationship isn't the right thing for you. Like sometimes you have to pivot, sometimes you have to go in a different direction. That's not failure, that's learning, that's growth, right?
Absolutely.
But it is like learning through hard things. It's whatever cliche you want to throw at it, like turning that boulder into a stepping stone, or like whatever. Like there's all these cheesy cliches, but they're all true. Like they all actually mean something, because anyone who's gone through those hard things, and you learn how to deal with hard things, you learn how to build that resilience muscle, then all of a sudden you realize that life and the hard things in life aren't scary. It's just part of like the nectar of life. Like it's just part of what it means to live a full life, and to learn and to grow. And that brings a richness to it. And you're not always going to be happy. You're not always every day going to, wake up and just be at like the highest mood level. Some days are going to be blue. Some days are going to be really hard. Some days you're going to be flying at the top of your world, and you're going to be like running at all cylinders, and you're going to feel like you can do anything. Like there's going to be ups, and there's going to be downs, and there's going to be trials, and there's going to be challenges, and that's what life is, and that's how you grow. And I think that's beautiful. And so just building that resilience muscle is really what life is all about. And anytime I'm around, I'm middle aged, I'm not like old, I'm not young, but I'm relatively young, I suppose. But like anytime I'm around younger folks, that's like one of the main things I just want to convey is like, you have so much life ahead of you. Like try stuff, experiment, be courageous. And if it doesn't work out, that's okay. Like just learn and grow and try something else, and you have your whole life in front of you. So it doesn't have to be like the end of the world if you fall flat on your face. Like you can pick yourself back up and try again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we are our harshest critics, and so when we face an obstacle or we, fail again, because there is no failure. If you're learning from it, it's not. It's just you're pivoting, as you said. So
Yeah.
when we face something like that, we actually incorrectly put a label on ourselves that we are not capable enough, not worthy enough. And I think it's that meaning
Mm.
that we automatically, and I think it's a nature thing. I mean, we've grown up thinking that way through, how, at home or school system is all about A, B grades and B's. And so if you get a mistake, you were penalized. So naturally, by the time we are out there trying things, we would need to be very intentional to say to ourselves, oh, this didn't work out. So what? It doesn't mean anything about me. It means I'm still whole. I'm still capable. I'm still confident because I can do other things with great, precision and power and all of that. It's just when you do something new, like a baby trying to walk, you'll fall.
Yeah.
So it's that meaning that we need to catch and help young leaders and even us who are seasoned and in our, prime, trying, doing new things, but, we've got a lot of experience. Even then, when we, don't get it right, we think, oh God, I'm gonna, So we have to
Absolutely.
remind ourselves there's no label on me. It's just I'm making it that way. So we've got to catch that meaning, and dust it off. I would say dust it off. Don't get too attached to it. That's our ego. If I go into a psychology sense, that's the ego side, berating me because I tried something new, versus my other side, my higher self, the self that's curious, that wants to try out, is saying, well done. I mean, next time you know what to do, in a different way. So catch those meanings and not be so harsh on yourself.
I love it. Irene, this has just been such a great conversation. We've only scratched the surface, but I know at the time it's getting late for you. I know you need to go off and spend the evening with others and have a wonderful evening. Before we wrap things up for today, I just want to give you a chance to share with the audience how they can connect with you, find out more about your work, your team, and then give us the final word for today.
Well, it was a pleasure. I was looking at my clock. I was like, that was quick. It was wonderful, wonderful conversation, John. I'd love to invite all your listeners to connect with me. I'm mostly on LinkedIn, and you'll find me with my full name, Irene, Irene, Riad, Riad. Please connect, send me a message, connect. Also, you could check my website, www.ireneriad, and if you're interested in what I write about, I have a book that was published last year. It's called Radical Becoming. They could check it out. It has some of the concepts I was alluding to on how we think about ourselves. And the final word, final kind of phrase is, I think what's coming to me now is have certainty in your wholeness and your capability. Have that certainty in your wholeness and capability, and don't let the doubt creep in unchecked. So doubt can creep in, but have it stand at the door versus taking a driver's seat, because wholeness and capability is within you. So don't ever doubt that.
I love it. I love it. Irene, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure. I encourage the audience to reach out, find out more about what Irene can do for you, check out the book. And as always, I hope everyone can stay healthy and safe, that you can find meaning and purpose at work each and every day. And I hope you all have a great week. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the podcast. We hope you stay healthy and safe, and please join us again soon.